Welcome to another episode of Beyond the Den. Join us as we interview Cioban, Wolf Game Farmhands Council candidate. Discover his business communication strategies for enhancing Wolf Game's transparency and community engagement. We'll delve into his vision for the game's future, focusing on his commitment to community-driven development. What is up, Cioban?
Good to be here. Nice to meet you.
All right, my friend. So can you give us a main reason why you're running for the Farmhands Council?
Sure. So I've been on Wolf Game since probably day 2. And at first, I just kind of was starting to draft up a tweet to see if I could even come up with anything that would be of value to the community. And I realized that I have quite a lot of experience in every single aspect of Wolf Game. So I remember being there for Risky Game. I was there for Alpha Game, Cave Game, Full Game Delay, everything in between. And I was a part of it every single step. And, I was always lurking on the Discord. I might send a message here and there. I read every tweet. The only notification I have on my phone for social media is Wolf Game tweets. So I feel like I have a lot of great insight, but I've always been 1 foot in the door, 1 foot out the door. And I thought this would be a great opportunity for me to put both feet in the door and kind of step outside my comfort zone and be more involved in something that, is really important to me.
Love that. Yeah. How about your journey in Wolf Game? Can you share that with us?
Absolutely. So it's been quite the journey. I was here from the start. I didn't mint, but I definitely bought some sheep. I think probably day 2. I remember I was supposed to go meet with the best friend of mine. We were going to watch the Bulls game, and I canceled it because my sheep needed to shear, right? So we were waiting on a big tweet. My sheep were making wool. I was shearing. I remember the feeling of that. And that was really my first ever exposure to NFTs as well. Mm-hmm. Since that moment, I was glued to the project. Like I said, I experienced Risky Game, which to me is a very underrated aspect of early Wolf Game. I remember waiting to play it when I was all alone. 4 of my 5 sheep got big pouches over 200K. I was very happy with that.
Nice.
Then came Alpha Game, Cave Game, Full Game Delay, everything in between. And so that's really been my journey, and that's what got me here today.
Yeah, man. Fascinating. Love hearing it. So as somebody who's been engaged since the start, how have your experiences with different aspects of the game shaped your perspective on its evolution?
Sure. So I'm going to probably keep touching on this throughout, but I'd like to focus on what's kept me engaged so far. Mm-hmm. Wolf Game has had a lot of strengths from the beginning. So one, revolutionary functionality, the ability to steal NFTs, to risk them, pouches that vest wool. These were all good things that built trust with players in the community, and the team was very innovative, right? They proved it, and that was one aspect of it. But the other aspect was their ability to storytell. And we can all agree how great the tweets were in the beginning. The lore, as everyone calls it, right? I remember reading the tweets and immediately waiting for Term or Bri to decode them and decipher them. The music in the GIFs, where did that music come from? Is it a node to an old game that might be a clue? Counting the pixels to see how many plots of land there may be when land reveal finally comes out, right? Mm-hmm. All that excitement was driven by incredible storytelling. And I feel like a lot of that has been lost over the several months, if not year. Wolf Game needs to get back to that. They need to get back to what was fun and what was working. There's countless examples of this. I mean, think of the Relic auction. That was an incredible, simple way to enhance the lore and to storytell further while also getting the community excited about relics. Mm-hmm. The farmer reveal, right? Even that, the way they revealed that, it wasn't through a tweet, right? But that was incredible storytelling. That's something that made Wolf Game stand out as a product in game, and the community loved it. That definitely needs to come back.
Yeah, I would agree for sure. I think it could be strengthened, which has led to a lot of the community members thinking that the Shep is no longer with us. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think he's still lurking? Or do you think he's just in an advisory role? Like, where is he?
I can't speculate. I can only say what has been presented, and talking about storytelling and tweets, I love the "I'm not fucking leaving" gift,
my goodness, so powerful. Yeah,
if I take that to heart, then he's not gone. He's still here now. Whatever role he has, I don't know. Is it one person? Is it a team? I really don't know. It's not something I can speculate on, but definitely an intriguing question. And again, mystery of the shepherd is something that really plays into the storytelling, and that
Huge.
is unprecedented. Now, where that story goes, I don't know. Do we turn Shep into a villain? I think Wolf Game needs a villain. That's an actual character in the game, right? I think that would definitely enhance the
Cool.
storytelling and get people more involved.
Yeah, I love that, man. For the storytellers in the community, I think that putting yourself out there even more, creating more lore, and I think that is something that we can never have enough of. The communication, I think, is very important to you, and the timeline accountability. They're both crucial. So how do you plan to enhance these aspects within the Wolf Game community?
Yeah, so I think when full game was initially delayed, that was a big miss. It made the expectation of what would be delivered even more anticipated. So I remember going into that, vibes were incredible, right? Wolf Game summer soundtrack was on repeat. I remember thinking there would be summer merch too, right? The winter merch crushed it. I had countless family members ask me for a woolish hat. The socks are incredible. And that just died down. That was something that worked. That was something that got people asking about Wolf Game. I think what really got me discouraged was the fact that just once full game came out, it wasn't what was communicated it was going to be, in my opinion. And that Valley game was not really a full game. There was no end to a means. There was no reason to collect resources that we knew of at the time. It wasn't finished. And we can go on and on about what the expectations were and how it was delivered. And I think it's important to realize that Valley game is innovative too. The problem was they went away from the storytelling, and I'm going to keep doubling down on that throughout this whole interview because I'm a big proponent on storytelling. It's what really helps drive companies and businesses to the next level. And there's so many opportunities in Valley Game to enhance the story and get people bought into the lore and just dream of what they can build on the farm and in the valley. And there are a lot of things in there that are a great foundation of what could be a great game. I mean, we talk about the characters, right? We talk about the Citadel, and we talk about, even Farmer Ron. The fact that we were able to incorporate, or the team was able to incorporate his beard trimmings in Cave Game, that little piece is just a little piece of storytelling that gets the community bought in. How many times were we like, oh, fuck Farmer Ron's beard trimmings? Like, I want a shiny NFT here, right? I know
really personalized it. Yeah.
Right. The Weatherman, that's a great storyline you can incorporate in there. We talk about it in Cave Game. We saw a Big Daddy who was selling tools. Like, that can be incorporated in Valley Game. And I think just doubling down on that, and it's about communication, but it's also about storytelling, and it's also about pulling those levers that Shep keeps talking about, right? And I don't see those levers as how much wool should be burned when we move into a different community. I see those levers as how can we make this functionality that we already have follow a story and get people excited to play the game.
Yeah. Very well said. And I think that will organically onboard more players into the game, right? That can appreciate that. So in your tweet, you emphasize the importance of farmer, sheep, and wolf utilization. What are your concrete plans to improve this?
My opinion, farmers need to build and farm. Protection and multiplication of resources do not make it fun to own a farmer. I'll say it again, they need to build, and that's structures, bathhouses, fences, silos, auction houses. Again, those levers, right? We're pulling those levers because the base and the functionality is already there. I grew up with Civilization and Age of Empires. How great was it in Age of Empires, starting off with one guy, some tools, very limited amount of resources, and creating an entire empire little by little.
Yep.
Wolf Game can do something similar and even more extensive. So a choose your own adventure, if you will. Start with the farmer, build your farm empire. Start with the sheep, win and risk a lot of wool, right? If you have deeper pockets and are more inclined to risk, buy a wolf and take the so-called easy way to victory, right? But these assets need to be fun to play with, and even if it's just one of them. So just increasing the utilization in what's already there and what can be built upon. And again, pulling those levers to make it more fun to want to buy a farmer.
Yeah, for sure. Looking into your professional expertise. Now, you have a background in managing high-performing tech teams, correct?
I do, yes.
Okay. How do you see this experience benefiting the Wolf Game ecosystem?
I've learned in my current role that it's important to find the best in people and play to their strengths.
Yeah.
My team rarely focuses on each other's weaknesses, and there's always areas of improvement. However, it's important to double down on what your strengths are. This really creates a confidence in people, and the output of their work is amplified if you let them go be great at something that comes easy and naturally to them. Additionally, we solve a lot of complex issues that businesses come across, right? So it's important to understand what the big picture is and prioritize problems of which ones to fix first and which ones to invest the most energy into. So if you have the ability to master these two aspects of managing a high-performing team, the sky's really the limit, and the team can do great things. Now, in this particular role of the Farmhouse Council, you have to bridge that gap, right? Of like understanding what the team is going through and understanding the frustrations of the community and how to onboard people and really solving problems of low-hanging fruit first. How do we double down on what we're good at too? And what I would say Wolf Game is great at is, again, the innovation we talked about, pouches, risking NFTs, stealing NFTs, and just this, I'm going to keep saying this, you're going to hate me for keep saying this, but the storytelling is super, super important for onboarding.
Sure. Yeah. I would agree, man. I mean, that's what really initially hooked us in the first place. And so there is a lot of meat left on that bone, that's for sure. Absolutely. So speaking about your professional career, you work a lot with other businesses. Can you talk a little bit about, how you would plan to explore potential partnerships?
Going back to what was working before, Wolf Game hosted spaces with a lot of top projects in the products in the NFT space, about a year ago, I want to say. What happened to that? I mean, that was great. That could be a great quarterly thing to do. That was a great way to get exposure to essentially who our target market is, who people that are in the NFT world. They're easier to onboard than, your family at Thanksgiving, right? Yeah. So take elements of what makes Wolf Game great, such as the ability to risk or steal an NFT and open it up to projects that have similar aims and goals. My dream, right, is for the caves to open back up and to find another shiny. Now, what if that shiny was insert your favorite NFT project's NFT here, right? That you would immediately own. There needs to be an ability to pitch and figure out how we can work together with other successful projects who have similar ambitions and visions as Wolf Game in growth and dominance of the NFT space. I mean, this would build credibility with the entire NFT ecosystem, and it creates an opportunity for even more storytelling, which can be another form of marketing towards new players.
Yeah. 100% agreed. And thinking about the other NFT projects, we're in a pretty mighty bear, and some think that we're getting out of it, right? So, but when you're in a bear, that's when founders and high quality NFT projects that are still pushing and doing things are a lot more open to have these partnership talks, right? I mean, they need eyes on them. They need, the exposure. They need revenue coming in the door. So even if it's donating, a few of their NFTs, it could go over very well. So I like your idea of creating these partnerships that whoever you create them with, you can really thrive within the ecosystem. So it's a rising tide lifts all boats scenario.
For sure. Yeah. Just the long-term value. If you talk about long-term value of a customer, right? Which essentially is what we're trying to do, is trying to get people on the platform to be customers and to play this game. And, we're asking for their time, and in return, they can win wool, they can win NFTs and things like that. But once you get them on the platform, the rest needs to be intriguing enough for them to explore Valley Game, to explore Peak Game.
Sure.
Right. So you have an opportunity there to have a lot of different people joining the Wolf Game community, but choosing their own adventure throughout the entire platform, because the foundation and the skeleton is there.
Love it. Yeah, I would agree. Transparency is a core value you've mentioned. How will you ensure that Wolf Game remains transparent and accountable to the community?
I think there needs to be clear and direct conversation. So again, whether that's a Twitter space, a letter from Shep, a thread, whatever it takes to air out everything that's happened, share with us in a transparent way what's transpired so far. What the near-term, medium-term, long-term goals are in as much detail as can be allowed to have, right? And how that's changed over the years. From once that's passed, right, we need a clear cadence of communication. So when can we expect updates? I personally want to advocate for quarterly updates for what the team is doing to build. Because you can accomplish a lot in a quarter, right? Tell us what worked, tell us what didn't work, and what we can look forward to. Mm-hmm. That way we can keep the communication clear and transparent while also letting the team build and not forcing them to update us weekly, daily, right? It's a way for the community to keep tabs on how the team is building and what they've accomplished. And then you fill those gaps with more storytelling, but don't just storytell to fill the gaps, like actually storytell with the impact and the ability to enhance the experience for the player.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree. I think that the lack of transparency definitely worked right in the beginning. That got us, that attracted eyeballs on us because it was new, it was exciting. But you're right, because essentially you're building a business. So transparency and communication are huge in business. That only goes so far. The whole, the mystery and the mystique behind everything. We do need the communication to get better. And I believe with the Farmhands Council, that is a huge step in the right direction for sure. So could you give an example in real life that you had to exercise transparency in a challenging scenario?
Yeah, this one hits a little close to home. So as you know, the tech world was impacted with layoffs last spring. My team was affected as well. I found myself stuck in a pickle of having a high performing team that had a lot of smart folks, but in reality, there was not a lot of work to go around for everyone. And unfortunately, 30% of my team was impacted. So how do you toe that line of having to deliver news in a strict way that HR tells you can't deviate from, while also having a human element attached to it? What about the folks that remained, right? How do you comfort them and let them know that they're valued and this won't happen to them while staying in the lines of what you can and cannot say? The answer there is really a blurred line. And essentially what I've learned is that you have to use your best judgment and at times toe the line of what's okay to say and what's right to say. So I feel for the team, right? I feel for the fact that maybe things that they had in plan or in motions didn't pan out. How do you give that type of communication? I think by having just more clear and transparent conversations in the goal of comforting folks and saying, hey, we maybe we messed up, maybe we didn't mess up, maybe we should have done this. Like, I think that goes a long way and it really helps build trust with the community.
Yeah, that rolls right into the next question, which is active listening, right? And the importance of it. So how do you plan to incorporate community feedback into your decision-making process?
I mean, I think it's important to reward the community for feedback. What that looks like, I don't know exactly, but it would need to fall in line with what I keep talking about: innovation and, again, storytelling, right? So we need to create incentive for folks who are frustrated to give actual constructive feedback and analyze it. Whether this is through a survey. I know there's one community member on Twitter that does polls on Twitter, which I assume are pretty helpful to the team. I would like to think that they look at those. However, people are hiding behind a poll, and when answering, it can either be a good thing or a bad thing. But create a survey, embed it in the game, and analyze the answers. Keep giving wool pouches to folks who provide quality feedback and improve the community like that's been done in the past. Again, we got away from that. I remember folks would get rewarded wool pouches for their contributions. Make that a normal thing, because then people would be more interested in providing actual constructive feedback. These little things show appreciation and will help folks give actual feedback rather than just be a keyboard warrior on the Discord, which I myself am guilty of this because that was my only outlet of frustration before, and I admit that. But take that frustration, analyze it, make it a standard process, and then reward folks that give you actual feedback and help you improve the game.
Yeah, it's only natural, right? You don't want the yes men and women to be here all the time. There's very little conduciveness to those types, right? So there is a optimistically cautious approach on things, and you kind of use that in your bags of Wolf Game, right? I mean, what you've we spoke earlier, and we talked about one of the reasons why you never really invested in a wolf. Can you speak to your strategy currently and what your thoughts are on the assets?
Yeah, so I'm not a big proponent of speculation. That being said, right, like I like to see a value on my investment right away.
Yeah.
So obviously, I saw the value in the sheep producing wool. That's why I bought sheep. I saw the value of potential farmers, right? So I bought farmers, and to me, the price made sense to what I thought they could be, right? But the wolf never really made sense in the price because I never really understood how to get that return on it, right? Whether the return was financial or not, wolves have never really been fun to play with in wolf game, or more fun to play with than sheep or farmers compared to their price. So that's really why I never pulled the trigger. Now I should probably pull the trigger on wolf, but at this point it's like, I think my bag is big enough, and I've really been focusing on wool and wool pouches.
Yeah.
So that's really been my strategy on asset accumulation throughout these last 2 years.
Or how long have you been on wool and wool pouches? Is this something that you've been on for a while?
Since day one, and I've been accumulating wool when it was pretty expensive. I'm pretty tapped out right now, but and I have enough where it's like, okay, like this is just enough for me. But I think the only way to do that, to have the price of wool go up, and I don't even, I mean, it doesn't even matter. This needs to happen naturally. And the only way that happens is if we onboard many more folks. And the only way we onboard more folks is to highlight the innovation, to pull those levers that Shep's talking about, and to really continue doubling down on the storytelling and onboarding folks and making people curious and selling them a dream, selling them a vision of this is what you can do on this platform. Here's how you can build your empire. So my vision for the future of Wolf Game and how I kind of would want to, how I would want to contribute to its growth is, I mean, I envision a platform and ecosystem that gives you the ability to choose your own adventure. Many ways to play the game. Start from a small owner, build your way to a big farm empire. This is a dream that can be related by a lot of different humans, right? So look at the popularity of simulation games. I recently got into Farming Simulator 22. I don't know if you've heard that, but if you haven't, I'd go check it out. Age of Empires, SimCity. I want to be able to task my farmers to go build a silo, fence, bathhouse, or auction house. I want to send my sheep to collect resources needed for me to build these things. And then while that's happening, I want to be able to explore a cave, with the chance of finding a valuable NFT shiny or Farmer Ron's beard trimmings. So when I get bored of that, I want to go play peak games and tug of wool, which is my favorite, while my farmers and sheep are hard at work building my empire in Valley Game, right? I would love to earn myself a wolf and explore the riskier part of Wolf Game if that were ever to come to fruition. But this is how I feel like the dynamic of Wolf Game can be. And I would make sure to constantly remind the team the importance of storytelling, the importance of highlighting your innovation as they continue to expand the game itself.
Yeah, man. I love that, dude. Very powerful. I love hearing the different perspectives from all of our community members.
For sure.
So enlightening, man. I want to run through just a couple just off the cuff questions.
Sure.
Before we do that though, is there anything that, you want to tell the voters?
Yeah, I'm a realistic guy. I know my 2.8 million wool alone won't get me nominated in the top 10. I don't think that I have a good enough grasp within the community to really convince folks, unless this interview can definitely help. But thank you so much for having me on here. This was a blast, and I appreciate the opportunity to share my story and experience. Now, again, being realistic, if there are any candidates outside of the top 10 that are kind of fringe there that want to connect and can relate to my vision, I'd be happy to allocate my vote and endorse them, right? I want to wish all the candidates good luck, and I appreciate the experience this team and community has given me over the last 2 years. So again, just thank you. This was a blast.
Yeah, dude. Whew. I love it, man. There's only 10 that are going to be chosen.
Yeah, I'm realistic,
crazy.
man. I want the best 10, right? I want what's best for the game and the community.
Yeah. And I think we are, not necessarily at the end of the day, are we going to get the best 10? Maybe not, right? But I think that we are going to have a diverse 10, and we're going to be able to voice our community's concerns and be able to bring that to the team and make Wolf Game great again. That's That's the chief aim. That's it, man.
Absolutely.
For sure. Just to kind of get to know you a little bit more, like what would you say an unexpected fact about yourself would be?
Unexpected fact about myself. So I was born in Romania. I don't know if you will go back to the tweet that's pinned on my profile. I love outdoors. I love kind of the whole. This is kind of why I relate to Wolf Game, right? The whole aspect of a farm and things like that. And actually, Cioban, which is the name that I've taken, means shepherd in Romanian, and my great grandfather was an actual shepherd. So again, kind of a fun fact that the reason my dad and I were able to bond over this is a lot because we can kind of relate to farming, we kind of relate to all this kind of stuff. So I'd say that's a pretty interesting fact.
Awesome, dude. What legacy do you want to create within the Wolf Game ecosystem?
It's very rare that one has an opportunity to be a part of something from the very beginning. And the fact that I was able to stumble on a random tweet on Twitter and see sheep making wool and shearing them, and wool has a value to it, and being a part of this innovative community, I would love to be considered an OG wolf gamer. Right.
Yeah.
And however I carve my path in playing the game in the future, I don't know yet. I like to kind of figure out things as I go. But just being an OG wool person, if I'm ever the first Wolf Game billionaire, that would be cool. But I don't know
that, man.
That's possible. I'm a Wolf Game woolionaire, right? But I'm not a wool billionaire quite yet.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure that there are others that are very close to that. That's for sure.
Probably.
So lastly, in an alternative universe where Wolf Game is a major Hollywood movie, which actor would you choose to play your farmer and why?
That's a great question. Who is the guy from Sicario? What's his name?
I don't know. I've never seen it.
I would have to probably say that guy, or maybe Hugh Jackman.
Hugh Jackman. I like it. Yeah, Hugh. I mean, he's Wolverine, right? Jackman.
Yep, Wolverine.
Yeah, he's pretty badass, dude. You know, I could see him being a farmer.
Oh 100%. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
he'd be a tough farmer.
He definitely would, and that would be cool if he had some claws, man.
No wolves would come near him.
Yeah, that's for sure. Dude, man, it's been a pleasure having you, brother.
Appreciate what you're doing. Thank you, by the way. Yeah. This was awesome. Keep up the good work. I know you've put a lot of work into this, and it's really, again, what helps the community and what gives different outlets for people to speak, and is definitely needed. So I'd like to just thank you for this opportunity.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. I definitely do. My 5-year-old's been lurking around the shadows. You gonna say hi, dude?
Hi.
Say hi. Look in the camera. Look at the camera right there. Say hi, dude.
Nice to meet you.
Dude, let's grow this together. The way that we're looking at being so early and being in the ground floor of Wolf Game, this is really the ground floor of content creation, and it's a whole nother animal in what we're doing. So I was talking to my wife last night and trying to explain to her, she, it's kind of over her head, or she chooses to kind of just turn it off whenever I start talking about Wolf Game. But we talked about the social aspect of it and how important it is, so.
For sure.
But yeah, dude. So again, it was a pleasure to have you, man. And to the voters out there, again, taking it very serious. We've got a couple more days to cast your votes. I think we have over 75% of the votes that are still left to be cast. So I urge you guys to take it serious. And, it's really cool to get guys like Cioban in that you might not hear because he's not as vocal, but for him to step out of his comfort zone and jump in and do this is great. So I appreciate it, brother. Hey everyone, what is up? It is Digital Optimist here. I just want to say thank you so much for joining us on Beyond the Den. Quick favor to ask, hit that subscribe button. When you hit that subscribe button, that's going to allow me to attract top tier guests to provide you with the most value possible. Give me a follow over on X at Digital Optimist.